Slack and he Major welcome you to the My Type of Hype podcast, where we celebrate hip-hop, not just the hype.
How y'all feel out there?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back once again to the My Type of Hype podcast with me, your boy Slack, in the building as always, and my co-host extraordinaire over to my left. What's happening, brother?
Very good, man. We're here. My Type of Hype, the podcast that celebrates hip-hop and not just the hype. Slack, we're back again. What are you saying, bro? You good?
Back again, bro. All good, man. What's the crack? What's happening this week?
Yeah, we're going to stay in the vein of the anniversaries, man. 1993, 2023, 30 years later. Some incredible albums need celebrating, man. So today we're going to look at, well, I'll get into that later, but we're going to look at my second favorite album from Tribe Called Quest, and we are going to look at the Midnight Marauders, absolute classic. So yes, going to be dealing with that beauty today. So what are you saying, Slack? Midnight Marauders, thoughts?
I didn't really like it, if I'm being honest. No, I'm joking, man.
That's cool. We like what we like, but I was surprised. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, another incredible album from Tribe. Following on from the Low End Theory as well, which is no easy feat for them to do.
Yeah.
And I remember Award Tour got absolutely rinsed. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, got absolutely rinsed. And one of my favorite songs from any rapper, any group, Electric Relaxation,
knew it.
Also got rinsed. I'll see them videos all the time on Your Own TV Raps. And I never got bored of them. Like, it's one of them albums that I can just play from start to finish and just never skip anything. It's just one of them. And it's one of them. It starts off really good, like Steve Biko and all that kind of stuff. Award Tour, 8 Million Stories. But then it gets even better as it goes along. Like, it's rare that you have an album that starts off well and then just gets better and better and better. And then by the time you get to like God Lives Through, you're like, fuck, like that's an incredible album.
Very true, man.
So yeah, memories around that time, man, was my friend lent me the dub of the album. So I remember because I love Electric Relaxation so much, man. It's just the perfect hip hop song. The back and forth between Q-Tip and Fife, the beat is just perfect. The video was perfect. So, and Oh My God as well. I love that song. And the video, them like the crowd chasing them while they're rapping on the back of that lorry or whatever, and then Busta Rhymes just up on a lamppost. Just super, super dope, man. So when I got the tape, I was like really looking forward to hearing it. And I was just glad that it never disappointed me. You know what I mean? Because a lot of times when you've been anticipating something and then you hear it, it's like, it's not what I was hoping for. So after I listened to it, rinsed it on the dub, and I had to give it back to him, that week I went out and bought it on, literally went out and bought it on cassette. And I was only like, I must have been about 13 at the time. But yeah, I bought the hell out of that album and absolutely rinsed it. I think that was one of the first CD albums I bought, actually, because a lot of my stuff up to that point was cassette. So I think Midnight Marauders was what I did buy it on cassette initially, but I also bought the CD later on. I bought that and 1903 at the same time. So yeah, man, that album means a lot to me. Great memories, man. Great memories associated with that album. What about you, bro?
Yeah, definitely, man. Award Tour, as people heard, man, it's weird with Tribe. Like, I don't know what it is about Tribe, but a lot of artists and groups that are similar to Tribe, I don't really check for, if I'm honest. I'm just being honest. Like, Jungle Brothers, De La Soul. I'm not really into them, and I always get crucified when I say that. But I don't know. I know, bro. Always respect the legacy.
I was never into Jungle Brothers myself, so I can't really say.
Do you know what I mean? Diggable Planets
they are incredible. Yeah, for me.
No, and I respect the legacy. There's no doubt about it. I love Stakes is High. It's probably the only De La Soul album I own, but I love Stakes is High. But yeah, just I don't know. But the point I'm making is that it was just something about Tribe. I just loved them. Do you know what I mean? Like, even saying all I said about the others. but it was just something about Tribe I love. But yeah, Award Tour was the one that, you know, I was always hearing, and oh my God, always hearing that. Electric Relaxation, yes, but it was probably oh my God that I was always hearing. Do you know what I mean? And seeing the video for as well. The video just looked so fun. There's out there in the sun and all that. Do you know what I mean? Like you said, Buster climbing about it, which is fun. The reason why at the beginning of the episode I said my second favorite is because this is the tribe that I came in the game on, I'll say. Do you know what I mean? Because 92, I grew up with hip hop, as I said, older siblings and that. But 92, 93 is when I really fell in love with it for myself. So I was hearing Low End, but it's not something I actually owned, possessed, and played of my own accord. Do you know what I mean? I think it was like 91. But after Midnight was the one that I spent time with. So I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. Went back to Low End and listened to that a lot more. I knew the singles off of it, obviously, but never spent time with the whole album. And for me, I always thought Low End is actually better. So for years, I always thought Low End is my favorite Tribe album. But I don't know, just recently listening to Midnight Marauders again, like you said, man, as it gets better and better and better, there was one point where I thought, you know what? I ain't even talking about best Tribe albums here. I just think Midnight Marauders might actually be top 10 produced hip hop albums of all time. Like the production on it is just flawless. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so my first memories was Award Tour. I didn't actually get the album till after all the singles had dropped. I was just spending time with the singles first. Because at that age, I was really picky with what I spent my money and bought, do you know what I mean? And if my older siblings didn't actually have it, you know, different times, no streaming and all that. But yeah, got it, spent time with it, loved it, man. It's an incredible album, definitely. Not in my personal top 10, but anyone who says it's in their top 10, I ain't even got top 5, I'm not going to argue because it's an incredible album.
It's interesting that you touched on the production value as well, because like you listen to that and everything just sounds so clean. That's the best way I could put it. And you could tell, like, well, they spoke about it on the Low End Theory. The whole idea about the Low End Theory is where you get the knock of that bass, and you kind of really feel it on the Midnight Marauders album too. So I know, like, Bob Power was the engineer, and he's one of the stars of that album too, man, because he engineered the shit out of that album. Like, you could hear everything just so crystal clear. Like, it's just produced to absolute perfection, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah, incredible. The production on that. And, you know, even the look on it, the artwork's incredible as well. You know, everyone's on, well, not everyone.
Even your tour guide, like, who starts off the album and comes in every now and again, you know, with her little...
Yeah, I love that, bro. Sick. Yeah.
Shit. It just ties everything together. So you never feel like you have to skip it, you know what I mean? Like, it's just... And what I like as well is every song doesn't outstay its welcome. Like, the songs aren't long. They might be like 3 minutes or whatever. But none of them you're like, when's this shit gonna end? Or every song, like, it just stays long enough and then it moves on to the next one to kind of keep you wanting to hear it again.
That's actually crazy that you said that, you know, bro. That's actually crazy you said that, because the last couple of times I was listening to it, I literally thought to myself, they should have, like, ran some of these tracks a little bit more, like just let the beat flow a little bit more, because there's times when you felt like, okay, it's finished, you know what I mean? But it's like, it's actually mad you said that, because the beats are so good. Sometimes you feel like I'd love to have an instrumental album of this. I mean, I love the rapping on it, of course, but I mean, it sounds so good. Just even having an instrumental out, you just let that run. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, man, brilliant album. 30 years of excellence, no doubt about it.
For sure.
Yeah, man. So break it down.
Your 3 favorite tracks.
Okay. All right, I've mentioned a couple of them already. But if I had to pick gun to head 3 favorite tracks on the album, definitely the Electric Relaxation. Doesn't put a foot wrong from the moment it starts. Before the beat even comes in, doesn't put a foot wrong. It's just, and you know what? The title is exactly what it is. It's just so smooth and chilled out. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, yeah, man, you can just let that run. So Electric Relaxation, clap your hands actually as well. Like the break in that. I love the break in Clap Your Hands. Like it's such a sick song, man. Yeah, that's a repeater for me. The many times I play that song, I pull it back. So I'm going to say Electric Relaxation, Clap Your Hands, and then a final one without doing an honorable mention. I'm going to say Lyrics to Go. Say Lyrics to Go on that. That's probably and it could be another 3 on another day, but if I really had to finalize it down, they'd probably be my top 3. Man. What are you saying? What would your 3?
I'd probably go for Electric Relaxation. Not probably, 100%, definitely. I'm going for that. Then I'm going for Keep It Rolling because featuring Large Professor, and I think that's that's the joint where he announced Nas, and he even said on his verse, "This beat Q-Tip said on his verse, the beat feels like a never ender," and it was like. It actually does. Like it feels like this beat could just go on forever, and you could just
be a cipher track or something.
Yeah. And I like as well. I think it was at the end of that song. He said, "Extra P said, don't say the years because it dates the album. Because they was like, you could be like 1993 or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you always date it back to 93. But if you don't mention what year it was made, you could be like, this could have come out in 99, could have come out in 2005. Like, who knows? So I think that was really dope as well. And the last one is tough, man. I might go for We Can Get Down, I think I love the beat of that song. Like everything, it sounds so like the beats, like the drums are very chaotic on that song, like very hard. But the song itself is just so chilled. Like We Can Get Down.
Exactly.
So it's like, how do you pair that with such hard drums and just really immaculately done, man.
Yeah, definitely, man. Yeah, production on this, definitely. And it's one of those ones where it is hard to actually pick a 3 because depending on what mood you're in.
Yeah, for real.
Do you know what I mean? You can literally listen to any 3, and this is why we're here celebrating 30 years later. And that is a classic. Do you know what I'm saying? All right, so as we've asked on the others, what would you say, not favorite song but favorite beat of the album if you had to pick one?
Electric Relaxation.
You know what, I would say that too, so let's make it a bit more challenging without that one, not including Electric Relaxation, because I was going to say that too, so let's pick
not including Electric Relaxation. I would have to go for It's tough, man.
Yeah.
Tough. I'd have to probably say, try to remember the lyrics to Go beat. Shit. That is tough. All right, I'll go for Lyrics to Go, man.
Lyrics to Go. Yeah. It is actually very hard. You know what? It sounds mad, and I've mentioned it already. It
ain't easy, is it?
It's hard. It is actually hard because it's like, you know what? I'm going to say Clap Your Hands. Yeah, which is crazy because if you put the whole album on now, there's beats that are better than Clap Your Hands, but I can't explain it. There's just something about that break and something about when it switches. I just love Clap Your Hands, man. I literally love it. It gives me goosebumps. So I'm going to go with that as a favorite beat if we're not going to include Electric Relaxation. But yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Yeah. You can't really go wrong with any of the beats on that album.
Any. You literally can't. Yeah, you literally can't. Yeah. I was thinking of Sucker Niggas as well, but I think it's Q-Tip on that really promotes that for me. Apart from the doubling up. Yeah, that's my choice. Yeah, it's Clap Your Hands.
Final answer. That's it.
Final answer. Bank it. But yeah, hard. All right. So what would you say would be? Because we're talking about an album, and it's tricky with albums like this because they're celebrated. Do you know what I mean? They're classics. undeniable. So usually what that means is most people love majority of the songs on there. But if someone came to you and said, what would you say is an underrated song from Midnight Marauders? Doesn't get props it deserves, or doesn't hardly gets mentioned, you know, but you think should be. What would you say is an underrated song from Midnight Marauders?
An underrated song. Do you know what? For some reason, I don't know why, but what is it? The song is it Midnight?
Yeah, Midnight.
A lot of people used to talk shit about Midnight, and I don't know why. I always thought that song was dope because it always made me think of, like, it put me in a place of imagining Q-Tip just riding around, just
yeah.
It gave me that. I don't know. I can't explain it, but the whole song just makes me picture New York at night. And it's always done that. But I don't know. Some people used to say that was one of the weaker songs on the album, along with "Sucker Nigga." But I never really liked the "Sucker Nigga" one. It just felt weird. Like, it just felt a bit.
Yeah.
Even like
it doesn't feel like people. Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't quite
hit. Repeat the verse. It's like a waste.
It wasn't on the level of a lot of the other songs. But Midnight, I thought was dope. Like, I love the beat on it. Yeah, I'd say Midnight.
That's actually a good shout, because the reason I say it's a good shout is because when I actually think of Midnight Marauders, I never really think of Midnight, which is mad because it's in the title. Yeah, I never really think of Midnight. So that's actually a good shout, actually. And yeah, I know what you mean about Sucker Trap, because what it is, the reason I mentioned it before is because I do like the beat, but I like the beat. That's why I mentioned it. But it still feels like, it doesn't feel like Tip. It feels out of place to a degree. And then it definitely feels like a lazy
theory to me. It felt like a low end theory.
The Tip from yeah, because they have got different feels. I mean, I know they're only a couple of years apart, but they have got completely different feels. Maybe it was one of the ones where
I think it sounds like even like the keyboards on it, the drums, like, it just didn't sound as polished as the rest of
everything else.
Midnight Marauders, you know what I mean? It felt a little bit like it was kind of in between Low End Theory in this album, or it might have been recorded around that time. I could be wrong, but that's how it feels like to me. It doesn't feel like it was recorded the same time as the other Midnight songs were. If that makes sense.
I actually thought you was going to say it sounded more like Beats, Rhymes and Life Tribe, because it's weird, because I feel like the Q-Tip on that felt more like a Beats, Rhymes and Life Q-Tip. I don't know if I'm going to be
the production felt more
like, right.
It felt more Low End Theory-ish than it did.
Yeah.
Like, Midnight was, production-wise, was a level up from Low End
Theory,
in my opinion. Yeah. So that Sucker tune, it felt like it was a leftover from that album. It always felt like that to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, if there was one that I could leave off, it would be that.
Okay. For me, underrated, I'd probably say 8 Million Stories. I think that's a good track. For me personally, I don't really, well, if I mention it as underrated, obviously I appreciate it, but if this don't sound like a contradiction, it's one of the ones that I don't really think about much. So when I am running the album through and it comes on again, I'm like, oh yeah, this is actually sick. Like, it's done well, good storytelling, blah, blah, blah. So that would probably be one. Whereas the others are ones that, if you think about Midnight Marauders now, you think about it. Do you know what I mean? So that would probably be one for me. But just to touch on what you just said, which I fully agree, is it's not an easy feat to have like skits and that just run so wonderfully into the album. Because even for me, at that young age, I didn't know Midnight Marauders. I thought it was a weird title. So when it was broken down and they're speaking about what it means, you know what I mean? The sound is, most music is listened to late at night, and you know what I mean? Yeah, and they're rubbing like your ear, you know what I mean? I thought it's actually sick. So but yes, the skits and everything works in well, and it really does work. So okay, so it's funny because I saw a debate about this on the timeline, might have been a couple of years ago now. They was talking about who's the best at track, do you know what I mean? And I think this is really a tough one, because there's definitely times when Tip shines, and then there's definitely times where Five does. Do you know what I mean? So on this album, solely talking this album, who would you say who stood out for you the most? Who's the star of that album for you?
I'd have to say Tip because he did the beats too. Simple as that, really. But I think Fife killed him on Beach Rhymes and Life. I think Fife definitely, like, he
geared up.
He had a grudge on that album. Like, if you listen to his verses, he seems a lot more angry on that.
That album 100%.
Than he did on this one. This one he's very like light-hearted and stuff like that. But on the Beach Rhymes and Life album, a couple of his verses, like he's chatting all kinds of stuff on there. So I think Tip was the star of this one because I could just feel like this was Tip's baby to me.
Yeah,
this was kind of like the one that he really wanted to make perfect. Like, I think Low End was a great way for him to get a lot of his ideas out, and I think that enabled him to make Midnight Marauders. Yeah, man. Like, just musically, samples, like you said, the skits all tie in perfectly, and I just think that's all Q-Tip, man. So yeah, he was definitely the star of it for me.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, if I'm looking at it musically like that, then it's undebatable. My thing was more thinking about lyrically. I'd have to go with Fife on it because I have to go with Fife on it. I always feel like I've always taken Tip as the more serious MC, which as I've gotten older and I'm really listening to Tribe more, that's a bit disrespectful because all it is, it's just that Fife's just got the humor, but he raps, man. You know what I mean? It's like, but I always felt like Tip was the serious MC, and I almost looked at like Fife sometimes as the like kind of, I don't even know what example to give, but like as the not tag along. That's too disrespectful, but I always saw Q-Tip as the serious lyricist. Do you know what I mean? And I never really took Fife seriously lyrically. But it's funny as I listen to Tribe as I get older, it's almost flipped to like it's almost like Fife was really rapping. Do you know what I mean? I don't know what it was, why I looked at him like that. Maybe because of little bits of humor here and there. Whereas
it's kind of how it was presented as well. It was always like it was always Q-Tip asking, "You on point, Fife?" You know what I mean? It was always exactly. It was always like Fife is his little guy, his little man, and because Fife was small in stature as well, it was always like Q-Tip was the main MC and Fife was kind of, secondary or whatever. And I think a lot of that is what caused the breakup in the group. Like,
very true.
So there was definitely a dynamic of that there. I'm not saying I agree with it, but that's just how a lot of people perceive them. You know what I mean? It's not.
Yeah.
It is what it is. One of them things.
Yeah, man. But no, they complement each other brilliantly, man.
Yeah, for sure.
A number of classics in the catalogue, man. This is definitely one of them. Yeah, man. 30 years, Midnight Marauders, man. That's it, man.
Cool. So, not quite 30 minutes, but 30 years wrapped up in 30 minutes. Another super 6 mic classic album that needs to be revisited and celebrated, because if we never had those albums come out then we wouldn't have had the hip hop that we have, to this day. Like, them kind of albums definitely, raised people like me, like people like E, our friends. So yeah, man, very, very important. One of the pillars of hip hop, I'd say. I don't think I've ever met anyone who said that they didn't like the album. Even my parents liked the album. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and it's got that feel,
I could happily play that. I couldn't play, NWA and Snoop and all them kind of things, but I could happily play Tribe Called Quest around my parents, no problem. So yeah, it's just accessible to everyone, and just good music, man. So big up to Tribe Called Quest. R.I.P. to Fife Dog.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So thanks for watching, as always. If you haven't listened to the album in a long time, now's the time to play it. 30 years, like, sit down and think about how good music is that lasts for that long. Like, you can listen to as a kid and as an adult with kids. Like, it's crazy when you think about it. So yeah, man. Celebrations for Tribe. 30 years in the can. 30 years in 30 minutes. My Type Hype podcast. Slack signing off as always. And my co-host extraordinaire over to my left, signing off.
Yes. Nothing but love as always, man. So like Slack said, go pump Midnight Marauders again if you ain't played it in a while, and celebrate, man. 30 years are great. So yes, until the next episode, stay blessed, keep it hype. all that good stuff, man. See you soon.
See you on the next one.